guys, welcome back. So if you caught last week's video, you saw that we celebrated the littles' 2020 graduation at Trader Joe's, and these are the 100 cupcakes and cupcake toppers that I made to go with that. So I'm using my Cricut, and it's really cool right now, and I don't know how long this is gonna last, but Cricut has a bunch of graduation stuff on there for free to make, which is awesome, especially for the class of 2020. So I just went on there and found something that I liked, and I liked this graduation cap over the others. I'm gonna kind of modify this project a little bit, which is what's really cool about the Cricut too, is you can totally modify this. And I don't know if I'm doing this in the most efficient way, but this is the way that I've kind of figured it out, watched some tutorials on how to like cut different images away and together, which is actually kind of annoying sometimes with the Cricut projects. Like, it looks one way, but then when you pull it up on the actual Cricut website, it looks a little bit different. But anyway, I went ahead and made these, which were going to be my cupcake toppers. I had found some cups at the store. I think I went to Smart & Final and got these like crystal clear plastic glass looking cups, but they were plastic. And because I needed to individually wrap all of them, I thought it would be a great opportunity to go ahead and top them with something special. Also, since we're here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Alrighty, so then as you can see, I went ahead and made my circle that I'm gonna put as the base of the topper. And then I decided, since I was gonna be, we were supporting two different schools graduating, I wanted to go ahead and put both of their colors in the toppers of the cupcakes, which ended up being a little bit more work, but totally okay. I was totally happy to do it. And then again, like I'm saying, I don't know if this is the most efficient way to do this, but this is kind of how I figured out how to do it. I'm not really going to explain it because I'm moving pretty quickly here through it. Obviously I've sped this up a little bit because in real life it takes quite a little bit of time to work with the Cricut program, and it can be both frustrating and amazing, but anyway, this is what it is. This is how I did it. And then now I'm getting into where I'm placing the shapes onto the mats for me to cut out. I'm going to show you in a little bit kind of how that looks. But it's a little interesting, like the way that the Cricut works as far as setting up. I think personally it would be way more efficient if they would automatically set to a standard paper size, or you had an option to do that. But since you don't, you have to go in and individually place everything to the size of your paper, because not everybody is using 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. Actually, they're usually using paper that's available, and that's usually an 8.5 by 11 paper, which is usually what I end up using because it's the most cost effective and I can be a lot more versatile with it. So then, as you saw there, I was able to choose my my material. What was really frustrating was I had gotten this paper, and it was a really pretty blue color, as you can see up in the left-hand corner. But it was so thick, I didn't realize I had gotten the 100 weight paper, and every time I used the Cricut, it wasn't cutting through it, and I didn't realize that I could just set it to the right setting and then it would work. And there you can see it chugging along very quickly. Obviously, again, this is sped through. This whole process of me cutting out took one evening. So I think I started around 7:30 or 8, and I went until probably about midnight, so about 4 hours or so for me to cut out all the pieces. And then I spent the next evening putting everything together, which I'm also going to be showing you how I did that. So here I am using the Cricut to cut out each and every layer to the toppers. So I started with the circle, which is that royal blue in the left-hand corner. And then I had the half circle, which was the different school colors. And then I had the yellow base, which was the caps, tassel, and little button at the top of the cap, and then I used the black to make the actual cap. So kind of enjoy a little bit of Cricut-esque cutting. Alrighty, so then here I am putting the actual toppers together. I just use regular, just a regular glue stick, but I started with the bases and then I worked in batches of, I think I ended up doing like batches of 20, just because it was easier for me to keep track, because I made exactly 100 toppers and exactly 100, actually ended up making like 102 cupcakes, so that Ryan and I could have a cupcake at the end of all of this. But I ended up working in batches of 20, and I just kind of put everything together, you know, lining everything up. So this took another evening, so this is now day 2 of this project. And again, I sped it up for you because my original footage was, I think when I put it all together, about 2.5–3 hours long, not including the baking portion of this. So it did take quite a bit of time, but totally worth it. And yeah, so this is me just gluing and lining up and putting everything together to end up with some really beautiful cupcake toppers. So here I am making the cupcakes. I will put the recipe down below because honestly I don't remember off the top of my head. But I basically creamed together my butter first. And I think I ended up, the recipe that I'll put down below will probably just be the standard recipe, but I ended up, I think, doubling or tripling the recipe the first time, and then when I needed more I just went ahead and just did a single batch. So I creamed my butter and my sugar together first to begin with, and it makes this beautiful. And then, okay, so also for the sugar, because the original recipe that I found, which I will link down below, just called for regular standard sugar, I actually had some vanilla bean sugar, which is vanilla bean powder basically. So I mixed that in lieu of a full batch of sugar that it called for. I like went half and half, and then I started adding the flour in. Then I added my eggs, and that's when we really start to see some progress. So I actually have never made cupcakes straight from scratch. I've always made them, you know, from a box. So this was really fun and interesting for me to try. There I had added the milk, and that's when it really came together and it looked so good. I was careful not to taste test as we went, one for my waistline, two because I was trying to stay as sanitary as possible. Then I just went ahead and baked 100 cupcakes. I think I lost some footage at one point, or I forgot to turn on the camera when I was hand mixing the very last batch, because I had like 88 cupcakes and I needed 10 more cupcakes. So I made a small half batch to make up those last few cupcakes that I needed, and that was perfect because then I was able to make a couple extra for me and Ryan to eat. So then I just used some store-bought frosting. Why couldn't I think of what that word was? And then I added, and I got the white version so that I could add my colors without there being any, or not too much interference with the colors that I was wanting to make. But since that wasn't going to be stable enough on top of the cupcakes to hold, especially because I was making this the night before the event, I added powdered sugar to add a little bit of stabilizer, and because I was using liquid food coloring, that kind of thinned it out as well. So I added, it was very, very, very sweet. If anyone that tried my cupcakes will tell you it was a very, very sweet cupcake, especially the frosting because it was a lot of sugar. But so I just mixed up what I thought looked nice until I got the right color and consistency that I wanted. And I was trying to work as quickly as possible because I didn't want the frosting to melt before I was able to put it into the refrigerator. So then originally I was just gonna leave the little cupcake papers on, but then I realized that the cupcake fit perfectly in the bottom of the cup, so it actually was easier for me to take the cupcake wrapper off and stick it at the bottom of the cup, and everyone could either use a fork or, you know, use their fingers if they really wanted to, but they didn't have to. They could use like a little fork and make it like a little mini cake. So then I just stuck it into I just stuck the frosting into a piping bag and piped on the frosting, and then I added a little bit of sprinkles to add additional school colors onto the cupcakes, and then I made 100 of them. So then when I went to go put the toppers on, I actually just taped them to the top of the holder of the cup, and I don't think I got any footage of my fridge. If I have a picture, I'll insert it here, but my entire fridge was filled with 102 cupcakes, or 103 cupcakes. It was pretty intense, but totally worth it. Here I am making the last of the red cupcakes, and then I moved on to the blue frosting. So again, I use just some store-bought frosting. I know it's cheating a little bit, and I totally could have made my own buttercream frosting, but I was already on day 3 of this project, and it just seemed more cost-effective to do it this way. Even though I ended up adding a bunch of sugar into it, I could have just gone ahead and done it, but it is what it is. So I remember this part, like my coloring was really nice, but then it was coming out like not the right consistency. So I had to work a lot with the blue to get the right consistency and to keep like a nice vibrant color in it. I think I had also tried using some gel coloring instead of just the regular liquid coloring, which helped, but it wasn't nearly as vibrant. So I ended up adding the liquid coloring in anyway. But as you can see, as up in that corner, I already have a stack of cupcakes. Yeah, so like I said, I've never made this many cupcakes, and I've never made homemade cupcakes before. So it was a pretty interesting process for me, to say the least. Do you want to take a minute here to congratulate the class of 2020? I mean, you guys obviously have already been through a lot this year, and this wasn't a whole lot, but this was a little bit that Ryan and I could do to contribute and help celebrate these awesome, amazing students. And I'm so proud of each and every student, but especially proud of the kids that we get to hang out with and talk to and see on a regular basis. So just want to say congratulations to the class of 2020. We love you guys. And there you have it, 100 and technically 102 cupcakes for the class of 2020 and for the Trader Joe's celebration that was thrown by them. If you guys haven't had a chance to see that, make sure you check that out. I'll put a link in the description below, as well as a card and a link at the end of the video. Enjoy! Thanks, guys! Bye!